Okay, I'm showing you how to tie the razor back right now. You just need a piece of line. Starts with a 10-foot to 12-foot leader for the cowlets, and a red hook, corky, and a piece of yarn. So hold tip of the hook in your hand and put the tip of the line through the back of the eye. This is the razor back. After that, slide the corky onto the back of the line, so setup looks like this. So there's a corky on the back end and there's a hook. Then we're going to take the piece of line that's sticking through the back end of the corky and we're going to turn it around so that it's laying beside the line you stuck through before. Same piece of line and a loop with a corky on it through the eye of the hook. Right? Setup looks like this. Hold the line, corky on the back of the hook. So drop corky below hook, lay down line outside, not inside the eye of the hook, pinch together so that it lays down beside. Then we're going to take the line, the long piece of the 12-foot leader, and we're going to wrap it around the back of the hook 5 to 7 times. So 1, start over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So you want the line facing downward, and you have to hold tension on the bottom piece of line so that the coil that you went around 7 times does not let loose. Then you have to grab the corky that is down in this area so it makes a loop so it looks like this, right? So pinch those pieces of line and hold that tension. Grab that tight with your left forefinger. Bring the other end of that 12-foot leader through and stick this the other direction through the eye of the hook, right? So that it looks like we have 2 tails hanging out of the hook. Keep tension on this line so that it does not move away from you, right? So then we're going to wrap again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have a loop down below here, all the way down there, loop a line, still holding tension on that line that came below with this the second 7 wraps. So the piece of line that you pull through is the piece of line that's going through the eye of the hook, this piece, so it'd be the bottom piece. We take that and we pull it. Sometimes it's kind of hard to pull. You might need to get it moistened just with your tongue, and then you pull it through and just make sure that that coil does not get wrapped up, because if it won't feed through and it'll knot up and you'll screw up the whole knot and you have to start over again. So just pull that all the way through and it will cinch up the entire knot, right? So it should look like this, right? Corky on the back below the eye of the hook and this tag end down below here. So what we want to do is we want to take this piece of line and we want to pull it through and bring the corky up above in the middle part, up above by the shank of the hook. I'll try to get it in focus a little bit for you. There it is. Oh boy. There you go. So that's what it's going to look like. Corky sitting on the back of the hook, right? So then after that's done, I remember explaining to you the bumper knot. So we take the long tag end is down here, right? And then we're going to tie a simple knot in the back of the hook. Excuse me, the line, right? Cinch that down by the coils, pretty close. And then we're going to snip off the excess, because you have to snip off the excess, because if you don't, when you tie it out, because this is going to give a twirling sensation when it's ripping through the water, and if you don't, that tag end will get wrapped around your leader, and that's when you have the kinks and all kind of problems, and especially at night. That's a big job, right? So it's still gonna, this is an egg loop. It's a modified egg loop, so that means you can take the piece of line that's your leader, that's what you tie to your swivel. You can push this through here and make a loop, right? So that's what we want. We want a loop there. Then you take a piece of yarn about 2.5 inches, and you just put it through that loop, and then cinch it down, right? So the pressure, the tension from the leader, when you pull that out, will keep the yarn there and it won't fall out, right? So this is what the finished product should look like, with the corky in the back. So the corky floats up, the hook floats below, the yarn above, the corky on the back of the hook, so that when the fish comes up from the bottom, it's going to hit the hook first, even if it's short strikes, right? So that's the razorback. And like I said, 10 to 6 to 10 foot leaders, pretty much. I do all pretty much like 2 full-length arm pulls. Dean, you can probably do 2 arm pulls. Darrell, probably do a full arm pull and a half, because you're taller. So that was how I measure it out, and it works out. So if you're in a different situation and you need to cut it down, you always can, because you have enough line left. If you do it too short, you're stuck with it and you can't tie on to it again. So always make your leader longer than needed, and you can shorten it up. Okay. So then after this, I'm going to run through my normal hook that I use to tie onto a swivel. So I'm just going to use the back end of this hook as my swivel for demonstration. So we're going to take the end of the line, and we're going to feed it through the end of the swivel, right? So it went through, and then we're going to take that same piece of line, and we're going to go through the eye of the hook again, right? So also, when we're not doing the razorback and you want to tie this just with a corky above the hook, if you were to slide it on, this works, and you put a piece of yarn below it. Also, the beginning start of the double hook rig, but we won't need that because we're using the razorback. So now that we have this, we have a big loop, and it's just pretty much the line goes through, we spin it around again, and we came out again, right? So then we pull it down so that loop gets pretty small, right? So that it just tucks underneath your finger. Then we take the line and we wrap it. 1, 2, 3, right? We have the tag in. So we stick through the loop that we made at the beginning, and then when you do that, it's going to create another loop right here, right? So we bring that through, and then we pull. Now the important thing here is, when you're going through this, you cannot pull the tag in. You need to take your fingers like so, and you need to push the coil down. Just slide it, just keep sliding it down, push it down, and it'll all cinch up. Then after it's down close, then you can pull the other end, the short tag end, and pull it tight, and pull the whole knot tight, and it'll work. And once again, I always use the bumper knot. So tie a simple knot around on the back end, and trim the tag end, and it cinches it down. This knot will never fail on you. You guys see me catch fish on this, and it does not fail, right? Clip the tag end because you don't want it to, to slip out, right? So this is pretty much what's going to be your swivel. So you tie, of course, your main line to one end of the swivel, and then your leader to the other end of the swivel with this same exact knot. And of course you clip your cannonball on there, and then you're ready to go. So we have this is our swivel, and then we have, you know, demonstration purposes, this is our 12-foot leader with our Razorback. So I know it's kind of out of focus, guys, but I mean, me speaking should help you out. So that's our whole setup. So just call me if you need help.